Here are some saw traps that I would make if I was Jigsaw. Burying someone alive with wet cement. The idea behind this trap would be that somebody has to confess to a crime or a wrongdoing in order to be freed. But usually when you are pouring cement, you need some sort of reinforcement, whether it's a grid like this or some rebar. Ideally in this situation, someone is lying down on the ground with this grid on top of them, holding them down, and the cement is being poured slowly. If they confess in time, the grid will be released, they'll be able to push it up, and they can get out of the wet cement. But if they do not confess, they will be left there for the concrete to harden and collapse their lungs. Some sort of torture wheel would be very interesting. You could be rotating the wheel with a bunch of spikes on the ground and just see how many passes it would take for the person to perish. For this one, maybe somebody has to make a choice of whether they have to save one or two other people, and maybe if they don't make the decision in time, they're the ones that are gonna get hurt. Hopefully they don't take too long to make that choice. I don't know how many passes they could realistically get over this. My character was quite fond of coffee. Obviously, I was the barista. So what about some sort of coffee saw trap? Maybe we have a boiling giant vat of coffee that somebody's about to get dunked in. Kind of like the cyclone trap from Spiral, but instead of spinning blades, it's just a really hot latte. And finally, this one's kind of basic and I can't believe we've never seen it in a Saw movie. Why don't we drop someone into a pulverizer? Like those things that they use to shred metal and recycle cans. Could you imagine how horrific this would be to watch in a movie? I don't know, I'm just surprised we've never seen it before.
Part 2 of the O.J. Simpson case. Okay, let's get into the actual trial itself. The trial began on the 24th of January, 1995. The attorneys representing O.J. Simpson were literally known as the Dream Team. Robert Kardashian was on his team. The whole link with the Kardashians is so, rogue to me. These are all the names of the people who were on this Dream Team, and the name Dream Team was given for a reason. OJ's defense was largely based on the grounds that the evidence had been mishandled and that many of the police officers on the case were racist. Particularly one officer. His name was Mark Furman, and he's the one that found the glove in OJ's house. Now, around 150 people testified on this case, and I'm not going to be able to go through 150. I'm going to stick more to basically the reason that he wasn't found guilty, and it was the glove. It didn't fit him. There were so many contradicting elements in this case, it's infuriating. But, okay, the gloves didn't fit, and that was a big piece of, defense. Why would the gloves be there if he hadn't worn them? Then who wore them? That must have been the killer. So clearly he's not the killer because he couldn't have worn the gloves. But OJ was actually known to have arthritis in his hands, apparently. And there was a bit of contradicting evidence online, but something about when he took his medication, his hands wouldn't be as swollen, or vice versa. So maybe he did or didn't take his medication to swell his hands so that the gloves wouldn't fit during the trial, but that's hearsay. Also, it's believed that the blood on the gloves could have shrunk them. But yeah, the gloves didn't fit. And that was literally a huge piece of defense. They also basically went on a press tour about how, depressed he was after this murder and stuff like that. They released a statement, basically him saying he was gonna himself, and he wrote letters to his friends and families as if he was going to. One of the jailhouse guards came out with something very interesting during the trial, claimed that he was urging OJ to confess, and OJ yelled out, "I didn't mean to do it." But this was not admissible in court because it was protected by something called clergy penitent privilege. I don't actually know how to say that. Millions and millions of people watched this trial go down. It was probably one of the biggest trials that have literally ever happened. If you think that the Amber Heard trial was big, you have no idea. People claim to have seen him in the house, but then they couldn't give time, so then that didn't really work. There were the people who claimed that they think he picked up illegal substances, which could have led him to commit that crime. If he wasn't guilty, oh my God, I'm losing my voice. Why was he getting rid of things? Why did he have 4 bags? Why did he dispose of things at the airport? That's not a normal thing to do. Why would he be getting rid of a bunch of stuff if he hadn't done it? This is my biggest thing. Why, like, it's not like it's a common thing to bring a bag to the airport and get rid of it. This was a big case. Started in January, and the jury started deliberating in October. It took the jury under 4 hours to reach a verdict, and they decided that O.J. Simpson was innocent. Innocent. What? I don't know if I'm missing something. I spent a hefty amount of time looking into this case, and it just does not make sense to me. Another element of this that just like blows my mind, okay? And I tried to get my dad to explain this to me because he did go to law school and all that, so he gets it. Both Ron and Nicole's families tried suing OJ afterwards for wrongful death, and they won. The families were awarded $33.5 million in damages because the jury found him responsible for the death. But he was still a free man. Like, this was a completely different kind of lawsuit. Because I feel like that's kind of like, yeah, oh yeah, he did do it, but he's not going to jail for it. He just paid $33 million. But that was a whole different thing. Like, the trial and the lawsuit, two different things. I got so invested, I forgot to actually continue doing my makeup. So, yeah, OJ got to live his life up until, well, a few days ago. And he died at the age of 76 of cancer, and that's not even the end of it. It came out that OJ made his family, like his kids and friends, sign NDAs the days leading up to his death. What is he trying to hide? Was there a deathbed confession? He passed on April 10th, surrounded by his children and grandchildren. You do have to wonder what his children think. If they think he did it or not. Maybe they have like this context that the public don't have. I don't know. That's not even it though. In the wake of his passing, some disturbing allegations have come up, proving once again that OJ was not a good guy. These tweets were released. I'll let you pause and read. A woman came forward saying that he had essayed her, and she was basically paid off, silenced. And she wasn't the only woman either. There was somebody else, at least one other girl. And if you think about it, if he did it to those two girls, there could have been a lot more. But that is all alleged. I don't know anything. Don't sue me. Well, he can't sue me because, well, he can't. Yeah, do I think he did it personally? I think that there's a lot of evidence. I just think this is an insane case. Like, the evidence is like, I just don't understand what made the jury think that he didn't do it. Maybe I'm missing some crucial bit of evidence, but that's why they called his team the Dream Team. They literally, like, saved him. I think that if he was a normal member of the public and not some famous guy, that he potentially could have spent the rest of his life in prison. But the glove didn't fit, guys. So I don't know. I literally don't know what to tell you. This is the O.J. Simpson case. I hope that you found it interesting. I certainly did. I had always known about the O.J. Simpson trial, but I actually had no idea what it was about. Honestly, I didn't even really know it was about a murder. But yeah, that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want more true crime videos, check out this playlist. I've got loads of them. Loads. And if you're new here, make sure you follow for more. Let me know what case you want me to cover next, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. The FDA just issued a huge recall over cookie dough for a salmonella risk. They're saying that there's nearly 30,000 different batches of cookie dough that's under this recall. And then these are all the products if you want to pause and read. This is crazy. A warning was just issued to iPhone users as the revolutionary new iOS 18 update won't actually work on several popular iPhones. Basically, these are all the iPhones that will accept the new iOS 18 update, so if your phone is not on this list, you won't be able to get it. A robot captured never-before-seen footage uncovering secrets from inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. Okay. Basically, they discovered a really long shaft inside the pyramid, and there's like a rock at the end of it that doesn't let you go any further. They were able to use a really small camera to get past the tunnel, and they found a chamber at the end of it that has really weird symbols on the floor, and they don't know what it means. But hey, maybe let's leave that alone. This genius parking lot feature at a shopping center has people saying that it should be introduced everywhere. This parking lot is located in Tasmania, and it has little spaces in between each spot, so nobody can park right next to you and you can't open your door. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me so you can come back to me tomorrow.
In November of 2022, a man made a horrific discovery while cleaning out his sister's apartment in South Boston. When he opened the freezer, he found 4 newborn babies, 2 male, 2 female, in shoe boxes, frozen solid. They were 37 to 40 weeks old, and all 4 had the umbilical cord still attached. Autopsies revealed no signs of trauma or injuries and no signs of any food in their stomachs. But there was no way to determine how long they'd been frozen or whether or not they were born alive. DNA tests confirmed they belonged to the woman who had lived there for decades, 69-year-old Alexis Aldemir, who now resides in a residential healthcare facility. The father of all 4 children died 13 years ago, and a 5th child born to the couple in 1982 was put up for adoption. The chance of getting pregnant at 40 years old is 5%, so it is very likely that these newborns had been in that freezer for several decades. Alexis worked at an accounting firm for over 40 years, and none of her coworkers were aware that she was ever pregnant. Authorities recently announced that they will not be bringing charges against her, because when authorities tried to interview her, she was confused about where she was and who she was speaking to. Because of her cognitive decline, she would not be competent to stand trial if she was charged. So unfortunately, we will never know when these babies were born, how they died, or why Alexis chose to conceal her pregnancies.
By tomorrow, this man will be dead. This is David Hosier, and he is set to be executed in Missouri. I'm True Crime Caitlin, and this is the double murder of the Gilbins. After 21 years of marriage, Angela, who went by Angie, and her husband, Rodney Gilbin, decided to separate. Angie moved out of their shared home and into her own little apartment in Jefferson City, Missouri, and she also picked up a new job working in a snack shop. With her newfound free time, she enjoyed going to the local bars, letting her hair down a little bit and having a couple of drinks. While at the bars, she also enjoyed playing pool and playing darts, and she was so good at both of these that she was actually on a pool and a darts team. It would be within one of these bars that Angie would meet 54-year-old David Hosier. David was visiting Missouri to attend his older son's wedding when he met Angie, and in his own words, quote, "One thing led to another." The pair decided to give this romantic relationship a try, and David would end up moving into an apartment on the same property as Angie. However, this is when she realised that her heart was still with Rodney. Angie tried to let David down softly and respectfully, and she just told him that she wanted to reconcile with her husband, and thankfully Rodney wanted the same. Rodney began to visit Angie's apartment, spending the night, and this infuriated David. Another neighbour of the apartment building would overhear David making threats either to or towards Angie, telling her that if he couldn't have her, then no one could. In the early hours of the 28th of September 2009, 45-year-old Angie would have been getting ready to start the opening shift at work when she was gunned down and fatally shot by David Hosier as she left her apartment. Likely hearing Angie scream, followed by gunfire, 61-year-old Rodney raced out to see what was going on when he too would be shot to death. Following this, David raced back to his black car and fled. Shortly after 3:30 in the morning, a resident of the apartment building would find the bodies of Angela and Rodney sort of lay halfway in the door and in the hallway of the apartment building. When the police arrived, they would find their biggest piece of evidence inside of Angie's handbag. They had found an application that Angie had filled out to apply for an order of protection against David Hosier. Within the application, she detailed how she feared for her life. She knew that David was violent, she knew that he owned guns, how he had been stalking her and harassing her, and how she feared that David would shoot her and her husband, killing them both. And sadly, that is exactly what happened. David would be tracked down and arrested within 8 hours of the bodies being found. When officers approached him to arrest him, he told them, quote, "Shoot me and get it over with."
When his car was searched, it was found that he had an array of deadly weapons, including 15 firearms, over 400 rounds of ammunition, latex gloves, a crowbar, a bulletproof vest, a homemade baton, and a knife. Wherever he was taking all of those, he wasn't planning anything good. Prior to the start of his double murder trial, David was actually offered a plea deal. In exchange for him pleading guilty to the double murder, he would be given a life imprisonment sentence, taking the death penalty off the table. But he refused. David Hosier was adamant that he was innocent and he point blank refused to admit otherwise. During the trial, his team spoke about David and a traumatic event that happened to him in his childhood. David came from a regular, normal, working class family. His mother was a nurse, his dad was a state trooper, and his granddad was a minister. David and his dad were really close and they would spend a lot of time together. They loved to go fishing. However, this all abruptly ended when his father was killed on the job as a state trooper while trying to apprehend a murderer. After this, a very young David would be sent to military school. Despite listening to this testimony and other evidence, including the fact that there were no eyewitnesses putting David at the crime scene, none of his DNA was discovered at the crime scene, and the fact that most of the trial was based off of circumstantial evidence, the jury would find David Hosier guilty of the double murder of Angela and Rodney Gilpin, and he would be handed the death penalty. David Hosier is scheduled to be executed tomorrow on the 11th of June in Missouri. I will do another video keeping you all updated on what happens with the execution.
What would you do if somebody offered you $3,000 for your child to try out a new playground? You're not allowed to tell anybody that you were invited beforehand, and you can't disclose the location of where you're going. You get $1,000 up front and the other $2,000 after your kids get off the playground. But you find out this entire thing is a trap, and each element of the playground is basically a saw trap designed for children. And the parents are all forced to look on in horror on TV screens. This is the story of Aaron Beauregard's Playground, a splatterpunk novel that went really viral this past summer. And now a super deluxe edition of the book has been made available. It's an expanded version of the book with extra content and extra artwork, and it also comes with a preview of the next Playground book. The next Playground book is going to be called Playground: Child of Divorce. I haven't read the preview yet. I'm about to, but I'm really excited because Aaron actually dedicated this copy of Playground to me, which is incredibly sweet. This is because of the video I made over the summer that went super viral talking about Playground. It has over 21 million views now. So yeah, it's a very cool full circle moment. If you want this version of Playground, it's on Aaron's site. I'm gonna tag him below. If this is somehow your first exposure to Playground, please check the trigger warnings. It is not made for all audiences. It is a splatterpunk extreme horror novel.
A group of time travelers are messing with our timeline, interrupting viral memes and classic vines, stopping them from ever happening in the first place. If we don't stop them soon enough, they'll be invading today's videos and we'll never get... Big surprise, it's all AI, which is low-key even scarier because they're taking over the entire internet and soon AI videos might be all we have. You probably missed it, but the internet actually died 8 years ago. At least according to a theory going around saying that almost everything you find online doesn't actually exist. Articles, channels, videos, posts, even me right now is all fake. The dead internet theory. And we see this already happening in real time on the most popular social media site in the world. You know, the blue one. It's getting bombarded by AI content created for the sole purpose of engagement and keeping viewers scrolling for more. The never-ending slot machine of addiction, flicking that thumb for your next dopamine jackpot. Pretty much every social media platform. Photos like these show up on the timeline, clearly AI generated, but somehow have thousands of likes and extremely generic comments from moms and aunts. But what if most of these people aren't even real? Because these pics get weird. As AI learns what gets the most likes and comments, it slowly starts to notice patterns of what sort of content to continue to generate. One of these patterns was kids in Africa building stuff, like this house with no door. Now, to tech-savvy individuals like you and me, these are clearly AI and quite laughable at that. But to some, I guess it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen. It's almost like the AI is trying so hard to appear human, generating images that combine the most emotional aspects of humanity into one. Poor, starving, African child builds inspirational monument with all that he's got left around him. Which leads us to the next and probably the most successful style of AI photo art there is, Jesus. Yes, the AI learned that if it includes Jesus in its photos, they are almost certain to go viral, clearly figuring out that it can bait people into engaging with its content by playing with their emotions and beliefs. And they just keep getting more and more ridiculous, which makes you think, is an AI actually coming up with the prompts themselves too? Because I don't know anyone that would ever think that Shrimp Jesus would be a viral hit. Look at the comments and they're all saying the same generic things. Are they AI generated as well? Even the actual profile, display picture, bio, likes, everything can easily be made with AI today. That would be AI coming up with prompts to generate AI images posted by a bot to a Facebook page with AI generated captions and tags that is liked and commented on by mostly bots. Robots making content for other robots. Welcome to the dead internet theory, my friends. The entire web is dominated by soulless bots and AI, but is this even a theory anymore? For argument's sake, I'll say yes, it is, but we really are seeing it unfold before our very eyes. And this is just with photos. What's gonna happen when AI video generators start becoming more accessible and just start getting better and better? Will we be able to generate viral Hawk Twa girl level memes with a single prompt? Full AI channels with AI generated scripts, voiceovers, people, and entire 30-minute AI videos themselves. And this is already happening. Unlike Photoshop and advanced video effect editors of our past, these AI tools are extremely easy to use and anyone can make them. Give it a few more years and we'll be able to AI generate an entire $100 million blockbuster movie from a couple prompts, only for it to get watched, liked, and commented on by other bots. Studies already show that only about 50% of web traffic is actually human, and it's getting smaller every year, with some estimates putting that number closer to 36%. If you look close enough on any platform, you can see these generic comments posted by very generic looking accounts. Hell, we definitely even have some in this video. You down there, Ashley? The dead internet theory was thought up in 2021 and states that around 2016, the internet started having content that was normally made by real human creators generated by bots. And this was in 2016. You can only imagine how much more believable the content is and how much quicker it's happening right now with ChatGPT, Midjourney, and DALL-E that anyone can use. Maybe it'll get better, but as of now, there's something empty, soulless, and just downright creepy about AI content that just doesn't have the spark of life that real videos used to. You see, the internet wasn't always the way it is today. Back in the early days, it was simply a collection of online pages that just existed, and anything you wanted to find, you had to intentionally seek out, or get it sent to you by a friend, or even just stumble upon it by complete random chance. Today, everything is determined by the algorithm that shows you what it knows you like, creating an echo chamber of your own beliefs and views. The internet is run by AI who has one job: keep you looking at your screen for as long as possible so you can keep watching ads and keep buying stuff you don't need, serving the ultra wealthy elite class so they can stay in power and we stay mindlessly strapped into our own matrix, while feeding them the most valuable resource of our world today: data. Now this is where it gets tinfoil hatty, my specialty, so take it with a grain of salt. A rock of salt. DARPA, a research and development agency of the US Department of Defense, actually started a program called LifeLog back in 2003, with the goal of logging people's entire lives, everything they like and buy, everyone they talk to, and so much more. Mass compiling this data and using it to, quote from their official goals, exploit these patterns to ease its task. Basically, find patterns in human behavior on an individual level and exploit them for its own benefit. The Pentagon spent millions of dollars on this project, only for it to get shut down by civil rights groups for privacy violations on February 4th, 2004. Whew, we sure dodged that bullet now, didn't we? Not quite. Cause you know what else was founded on that very same exact day? Yup. The Big Blue social media giant, founded on February 4th, 2004. Search it up if you don't believe me. A tool that is designed to farm data, that is now fed to bots so they can generate and interact with content that is data engineered to keep us addicted and distracted from the real world. Soon enough, entire channels, or even pages like this one, might be fully bot operated. Who knows, maybe I'm even AI generated right now. At our current rates, some projections reveal that by 2030, 99 to 99.99% of all online content and interactions will be run by bots, and the internet will officially be dead. Only people like you can save it by being the beacon of human hope in a sea of bots.
There's a Deadpool theory, Deadpool Wolverine theory.
Yeah, what is
So there's people saying that they're gonna do there's a comic, it's called Deadpool Kills the Entire Marvel Universe. Now check this out. As the state of where Marvel is right now, the movies aren't hitting.
Yeah.
The movie that came out recently, The Marvels, people did not like. Madam Web, obviously, you know, like people didn't like. A lot of people didn't even like the past few with I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but some people didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was good though.
I thought it was fire. But there's a lot of people saying like the way the MCU is moving is not great. Especially Quantumania. So Ant-Man, and then they introduced the character Kang the Conqueror. And he was supposed to be the next Thanos for the MCU. The movie was so bad for Ant-Man Quantumania, they decided to just scrap it. So the theory is that in Deadpool Wolverine, when this comes out, the premises of the movie is going to be Deadpool pretty much killing off all of the stuff that Marvel didn't like to start fresh.
That's fire.
Because there's a comic book called Deadpool Kills the Entire Marvel Universe. There's a comic just like
That's a fire way to do it.